Hello, everyone. I'm just looking at this statement here where Akpabio said that on the issue of the Kebbi girls that were abducted from a school in Maga, and he said there's no society without crime. What I'm going to say here is that, yes, there's no society without crime, but there are a lot of societies without terrorism. These are not crimes. These are terrorism. And if Akpabio thinks that it's okay for girls that were sent to school by their parents to be taken away by terrorists, then he should he should put his children in a place where terrorists will come and pick them up. And then we'll truly know that there is no society without crime. I do not see any place where human lives will be turned down in the way that is being turned down. People who are supposed to protect lives and property. Akpabio at this moment is supposed to be calling Tinubu and saying to Tinubu, what are you doing to protect lives? The Senate is supposed to be calling Tinubu, National Assembly is supposed to be calling Tinubu and saying to Tinubu, Nigerians are dying. The National Assembly are supposed to be the people who speak directly for the people. Activists are not the people that are supposed to speak for you. You voted for people, you pay people to speak for you. Nigerians were sitting down and allowing these people walk all over our head because we ourselves do not even know what we are supposed to get. Every money that they collect is not for them to use it on themselves. It's not for them to be doing all sorts of things, all manner of things. It's not for them to use siren on our head. It's for them to be our voices. It's for them to carry every of our voices from every part of Nigeria and go in there to the National Assembly and deliberate on these issues. It's for every one of us to call them and say, hey, this is what is happening in our places. And they call. And when the executive, the presidency does not do the things that it's supposed to do, then we call the presidency. The people in the National Assembly are supposed to be the activists in power. They are supposed to be holding the government accountable. They are supposed to be holding executive accountable. But what we have is a collusion between those who are supposed to speak for us and those who are supposed to work for us. And at the end of the day, all they do is protect themselves. This nonsense has to stop. If Akpabio is telling us that in every society that there is crime in every society, can he bring up his children for them to kidnap them, to abduct them and take them away? Then he can really tell us that indeed, in every society that there is crime. We sit down, all that they care about is the politics of propaganda, politics of getting people into their party. That's all they care about. Politics of protecting one another and never politics of protecting the lives and properties of the people. How do we continue like this? This has to stop. We've been on the street, we have spoken. We need to ensure that the people who hold those places are people who care about us. Enough is enough. Enough of this nonsense. For over 12 years, I myself have been screaming, I've been shouting, I've been on the street, I've been held tear gas. Yet, nothing. We cannot allow these people to be there and not think about us, not protect us. The Akpabio saying this statement means one thing. All he's interested in is protecting the executive. The National Assembly should be thinking about impeaching the legitimate president who was never supposed to be there in the first place. The National Assembly is supposed to be calling him and saying, what do you have for Nigeria? How do you intend to protect Nigeria? What is happening? Say the issues are all around. And yet, these are the people who are speaking for them. Let me tell you, this is what Sahara reporters had to say. It says the attack carried out by heavily armed bandits left one staff member dead, another injured. This was disclosed in a statement by the police public relations officer, CSP Nafi Abubakar Kotarkoshi. Somebody went to work in spite of the hardship, with being paid money that is not even enough, that cannot qualify as a living wage. Sitting down, being contented and working, and you go to office, and it becomes as if you went to a battlefield. How? Crimes happen in Nigeria? A brigadier general was killed. You're telling us crime happened in Nigeria? A church was attacked. And see the kind of people that were armed. They just had arms. There's nothing. There was lots of attacks. Those are bloody armed robbers who were going after to go and collect bags and whatever. See people who are terrorizing people. See the people that are terrorists, see what they are carrying and everything. Because we've been left vulnerable. The people that are supposed to protect us are busy protecting their offices and their seats. They don't care about our lives. The leader of the National Assembly that at this moment should be the number one advocate and protester and saying to the executive, what are you doing to protect us? He's telling us that, oh, everywhere there is crime. Yes, I agree with him, there is crime everywhere, but there's no terrorism everywhere. Being hunted like animals is not a way of life. Children are sent to school. Parents should not be asked to choose between the lives of their children and also education. That is not the way it's supposed to be. Senate President Godswill Akpabio stirred controversy on Tuesday after he appeared to play down the abduction of 25 schoolgirls in Kebbi State, suggesting that kidnappings and killings should not provoke despair because crime exists everywhere. Akpabio made the remarks while presiding over plenary during a heated debate on the killing of Brigadier General Uba Musa in Borno State and the abduction of the schoolgirls alongside the killing of a vice principal in Kebbi State. As senators attempted to harmonize their resolutions on the worsening security crisis, Akpabio shifted focus to the scale of Nigeria and the strain on the security agencies. Remarks critics say sounded like justification for the continuing wave of violent crimes. It's justification, that's what it is. He's trying to protect the executive. The legislative arm and the executive, they are never in bed. They're supposed to be on opposite side. They're supposed to be the ones demanding. We have abdicated our responsibility to, oh, it's activists that will come out and demand. It's people that will be voices. No, everybody that you vote into the National Assembly is supposed to be your voice. Those are supposed to be the activists in power. Those are supposed to be the people who are making demands for us. But we've sat down and we just allow things to just be, for these people to just behave anyhow. For them, it's all about the money that they are being paid. We sympathize deeply with the families affected, but we must remember that Nigeria is a very large country, the senior president said. It is not even possible to deploy one policeman to each polling unit during elections. Our security agencies are overstretched and find themselves in places they shouldn't ordinarily be. Yes, they are overstretched, yet how many of them are being given to individuals? If they are overstretched, why are we wasting money on this thing? Why don't we take in the amount of security that will be enough for us? If Nigeria decides to say that now every focus will be on how do we train people that will secure our country, would that be bad? Can't you call the executive and ask them what are they doing to ensure that indeed lives are protected? Or no, so we should say that every day we are the spot, we are the animals that are being hunted. See, some ragtag things. We carry arms and they'll come and be killing people all over the place, and you are sitting there with your armored vehicle, with your armored car, with your armored this thing. In short, I don't even have time reading this whole thing. Dear citizens, at the end of the day, if we don't do anything to protect ourselves, these people will continue to allow us to be killed and hunted like animals.